So now we're entering the proper city, I guess. Obviously Chernobyl happened during the Soviet time, and so it's all frozen in Soviet time. You know, everybody only thinks about, when you hear Chernobyl, you think of just Chernobyl and nothing more than that. But I think a lot of people forget about all the other villages that had the same fate. So you can see this walkway that goes all the way down. It lists, I think he said 167 cities or so. And you can't help but wonder, like, maybe, yeah, some of them, I think like some of them could have been like small villages, just like my own hometown of like, I don't know, like 8,000 people or something. But, oh wow. So it's got the city like this, and as it goes this way, each of them they're crossed off, because they're no more. But you can't help but think that some of them are maybe like, it could only be like 20 people. Some of them, though, I mean, maybe not as big as Pripyat or something that everybody knows. But maybe there's villages of like a few hundred people that just are literally entirely forgotten. This receiver goes down 500 meters, and then there's yet another smaller one beyond that for another 250 meters. But it goes up 150 meters, which for the Americans, that's 450 feet high and about 2,400 feet long. I always just feel like I'm hearing things too. Maybe I'm going crazy. Okay, I'm not going crazy. It is chunks of ice that are falling, I think, from up there on the wires. And these things are strong. Whoa. Actually, there's another limit. I should actually stay away from here. These are actually, some of these are really big. Look at these.
Yeah, it's falling down from up.
It's fascinating.
Huh?
It's fascinating. At first I thought I was going crazy.
No, brother. It's just falling from the top. You can see the lines here.
Yeah, so it's from the wires?
Yeah. And from the wires.
So, yeah.
It's like wires, cold rain.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah.
And this object was to find the nuclear rockets from the US.
From the US, okay.
Yeah, and it was 3 of them. This one the biggest. One was in Siberia, one was close to the Black Sea, and one was here in Kiev.
All of the sand here is from the decontamination. So how much?
Yes, it's sand from Pripyat River.
From Pripyat River, really? Okay, okay.
The most contaminated layer is about 37 centimeters.
It's one of the of all these villages, is one of the many World War II monuments, and if we're allowed to go up close, you'll be able to see on these names, especially in this whole region. The same thing happens up in Belarus, that it's all the exact same family names, like entire family lines wiped out from World War I, or World War II, I'm sorry. God, this place is spooky. Makes you think that like the floorboards might fall through or something. It's amazing. 1986. 1986, it's all down here. At first, some people would come and break the windows and stuff like this because it's just abandoned buildings, and they wonder who would actually care. But now it's just universally understood that people don't do that because this place is already just so full of tragedy already that it doesn't need any more pain inflicted. I don't really want to go over here. Oh God. Okay, no, I can't. No. I'm not usually somebody that gets scared by this kind of stuff. Oh, it's music. Oh God. All the Russian music. Oh yeah, all the windows broken and everything. It's all piano music. Kids' drawings. Not only is it just like spooky to be here and like think that there's actually people, but if you go all the way out here, like there's a very big wolf problem here, that they have to have hunters come in and get rid of the wolves. There's wolves. They've seen bears here. There's, I think he said boars, all kinds of animals. Now we're at, I think it says Reactor 5, he said, one of the unfinished, one of the sets of unfinished reactors. These ones were going to be powered up next.
See.
So Andre was saying that to teach the kids about Chernobyl here, that like nobody in Ukraine really, as he said, gives a about Chernobyl. You see Shubham hiding in the background. They said that yeah, because like when it all happened initially, like the Soviets just put in the newspaper like one tiny little blurb that just said like, you know, a small little accident happened, and that really shaped how a lot of people here in Ukraine think about it. So he was saying that if you ask all the old people, they'll just be like, oh, Chernobyl, whatever. And now this is the new confinement.
It's the biggest movable structure in the world.
Really?
It's around 33,000 tons.
And also, okay, so on the sarcophagus, how there's like gaps, do those need to be filled in?
Oh, there are no gaps. It just looks like.
And
inside there is a like shield.
And what, like, is it just like a cover, or what, like what's underneath
They
there?
just needed those gaps because
Just to slide it on.
yes,
Yeah.
just this to
Yeah.
move it.
So like inside the sarcophagus, what's inside the sarcophagus?
The old one. I have, by the way, I have a photo.
Okay, okay.
Two heroes, professionals, to those who saved the world from nuclear disaster. So, in honor of shelter object construction. So, shelter object, it's the name of the first sarcophagus.
Okay.
You see, 30th of November 2006.
Okay. And they're saying that, I never knew about this, you need to be very specific on what you can film here. So off to his side then is a gray security building, if I pan a little bit that way. And then off to this side then is where they store, try not to be too hiding of course right behind the tree. But then off.
Someone will this guy now for his video.
Off to this side then is where they store the spent nuclear fuel. This is from the day of the explosion happened, or not the day of.
Yeah, it's
shortly
maybe day after, yeah.
Yeah, and so here's the reactor blown up, a chunk on the side. And then these are the ones. So we were just over here. Just
We've been
a
here,
bit
yeah.
ago. Yeah.
You see
You can see how it's
around all the trees around now.
Still, yeah, incomplete.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then I suppose that's a reactor. What,
Yeah, number 5.
Five, yeah.
Yeah. And
Okay. And then after
this
them,
was this reactor number 4.
reactor number 4. Then yeah. And so then this is a concrete shell.
It's first sarcophagus.
And when did they finish?
Concrete.
How long did it take them to finish that?
They built it a few years.
Okay. And then after that, now the one that is there now is
It's covered.
yeah, the sarcophagus. But it was interesting to me how it's empty on the inside, I guess. So Sergey was saying that it's a huge, the biggest movable structure in the world
Yeah.
because they decided on and they didn't want to put cranes above this in case something did fall on the crane.
Yep,
then
and do
boom,
something brave.
Yeah. So now they put up this. It's basically just like a big airplane hangar. I guess in my
Huge,
the way that I understand it, yeah, a massive one. But now they're gonna start taking apart the. Why are they taking apart the old concrete one?
Yeah, they want to delete all the
This was Lenin
all.
Avenue,
They want
main
to
road.
they want to destroy all the concrete there,
Yeah.
all the nuclear dust, and make it clean. Make this area clean. They have like 10 years for this
Okay.
to take all the dust and concrete from there.
Okay. So on this map, this shows the Chernobyl the exclusion area. That this is zone 2, or yeah, zone 2, and this is zone 1. Then the most radioactive part. And this is the part that we're at right now. I don't know if I can illegally film, but we're near the sarcophagus. That, and right here, of course, is the city of Pripyat that everybody knows about. But so Sergey was saying that on the day that it happened, back in April 1986, that the wind was blowing this way, so you can kind of see how it's scattered. This, of course, right up here is this is the border with Belarus, I suppose. So this is some variants of the machines that they used. These things that look like they're like scoops of machines that they put on top of the Chernobyl site. All the actual like radioactive material that was laying there. That they had people scooping up shovels of this straight up radioactive stuff. Sergey was saying they can only last about 2 scoops before the radiation was too much and you had to leave. So what's interesting though is that all these machines, they created these machines then to scoop up all the excess radioactive material, that they can only last like 1 day, like 10 hours or something before the battery would just be fried. That what was killing machines, they had humans doing the job instead. So this is the entrance to the city of Pripyat, and what used to be a huge boulevard that would go down this way into the city. So that's where we're gonna go next. This is the place that has the Ferris wheel and all that kind of stuff. But going this way is the Red Forest. So when the explosion happened, then it all went flying this way, as I showed you in the picture just a second ago. And so this is one of the most radioactive parts. We have to stay away from. Welcome to the main street of Pripyat. Feels very weird to be here. They were saying all these buildings. This is coming into the square. There's a huge hotel and everything over there. But that the average age of people here in Pripyat was 26 years old, and it was the newest city in the Soviet Union. So it had I think it was 50,000 people that were living here. They said officially only like 30 people died from Chernobyl, but you look around here and you really wonder how accurate it was. So this was at the time, this was the youngest city in the Soviet Union. So I was asking Sergey if we did go up into these apartments, what you would find, and he said that over the years there's just been so many people that came here even before it like officially became like a sealed off place, I guess, or a protected place, that that people would come here and just steal things. I swear to God, I hear things. I do. I'm not going crazy. I am hearing things. Okay, I'm gonna walk away. He said that there's not really any objects left because people have stolen them. If anything, you'll just find like furniture and that kind of stuff. But if you go way out into the villages, some of those houses will still be untouched. Hey Shubham, I dare you to eat some of these berries. No, 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 I'm kidding. You know, it's not that I necessarily like think that the Chernobyl's a joke, and I think a lot of people think like okay, there's a very fine line of people. I think most Americans, we're thinking like A, it's like way worse, or B, like it's not so bad anymore. Like people are overreacting, and I kind of fell in that latter half where I thought like, oh, people are probably overreacting. But the more I talk with him, he's telling me about how some of these places, like how much radiation there still is hanging around. So we were just looking at some pieces of metal, and he had the detector because we're checking for the beta rays. The beta rays are the ones that can go up to like 13 to 15 centimeters inside your body, and those ones, if you get contaminated enough, then as we're leaving the exclusion zone, that they're going to check for those rays on our clothes and everything. And that if we have too much, then we're gonna have to leave our clothes here and that kind of stuff. If you step on the wrong things, then your shoes are contaminated, and you have to leave your shoes. It's nuts. So Sergey was saying. So Shubham was standing over here just a second ago. We came over and they yelled at him and they said, "Get off that area." This is like right here, right next to that vent, the manhole. But this is about 600,000 beta rays, which is very contaminated. You're only allowed to leave with like 20, or 6,000. It was 6,000. You're only allowed to leave with 20. Otherwise, you have to leave everything and go through the process. But you're saying it's mainly because it sticks in things like dirt. It sticks in things like the moss all over there. Some pieces of metal is particularly affected, but because like if it's all the water and everything, the water will wash it down, and then that mound of mud, then it's probably radioactive. All of these stairs are particularly bad because like I said earlier, it stays in all the particles. So you're saying earlier that if you're walking down these stairs, that if you slip, then you're probably going to throw away all your clothes because all the dirt is accumulated here. So if you fall on it, you're getting covered in radioactive material. So he said this is called the river fort. I'm not exactly sure what goes on in the river fort, but it's interesting because all of the painting is peeled and everything. The carpets are upended, and I wonder if it's just from like 40 years in the elements.
Прижимаешь голову вот сюда, и руки слева и справа, да. Нет, поворачивайся влево.
When you come here and when you're in Chernobyl, when you see all these abandoned buildings and an entire city that's been abandoned, does it seem sad to you?
Me personally never feel sad, because I have only life to live, only one life, and I wake up each morning and I'm happy that I can make a breath and I can open my eyes. Everything here around, it's experience, which is unique experience, which is only one place in the world you have like that, and it's unique place, and you don't must to see this place, but if you will see it, you understand how stupid sometimes the humanity is. That's why you must go there, and there is no sad places. This area, 30 years, 40 years without people, the beers coming back, the very good, very beautiful nature here. In the summer, it's one of the most beautiful places in Ukraine.
All the wolves, all the bears, all the deer.
And it's unique, and it's a cool place to come.
Sergey, don't you ever think about going out to go check out some of these houses? Do you ever think that there's a house that people have never seen before?
But there is some people.
There's people that live on
There is, yeah, it's 100 people still living in the zone.
This is zone.
This is zone. Wherever, zone 1 or 2, they stay in their villages.
Okay, One more radiation checkpoint. Yeah, so I guess this is actually the back exit. We weren't allowed to film this earlier because there was military here.